Now, welcome back, everybody, to the Equitas Podcast. On this week's episode, I have the privilege and the pleasure of being joined by the one and only Pilates teacher, Julie Driver. Julie, would you like to introduce yourself to the Equitas generation, please?
I'd be delighted to, and thank you for inviting me. So I've been teaching Pilates for 25 years, and I'm not quite sure where those 25 years have gone, but somehow I know, it's incredible. And I am also a horse rider. I've been riding since I was 9, had a bit of a gap for about 15 years when I moved to London, because riding horses and having horses in London is quite expensive. I'm originally from Yorkshire. And I am trained, I've got the Monty Roberts introductory certificate of horsemanship. So I've trained with Monty out in Solvang and with Chris Morris down in Brighton in the UK. And one of my dreams has always been to put horse riding and Pilates together, because I think that they really are a fantastic pairing. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm living my dream and hopefully helping people, and for me, more importantly as well, helping their horses. I think that's the thing, is it's about both of them. It's about making sure that we are the best we can be for our horses.
I love that. So take us back to the start. Like, when I think now, please educate me. I am highly uneducated on Pilates. I tried it once, thought I was going to die. I know nothing about Pilates. I'm shockingly bad. But I wouldn't have even thought, was Pilates that popular 25 years ago, or that well known, or am I just completely off the radar?
No, you're absolutely right. It really wasn't very well known at all. I found out about it. I was an actress. And so a lot of my friends were also dancers. And so there were a lot of dancers doing it. And I was intrigued by it. And then my local gym started running classes, and the only Pilates class was at 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So when my husband got up to go and play golf, I just get him to drop me at the gym. So I just started doing it by accident. And then just because it was the only class available. And I really enjoyed it. And I found that it helped calm my brain.
Yeah.
It made me focus on my body. And it was really, really effective. At that time, I wasn't riding, but I just used it as a really lovely class. That was it fulfilled something that I wasn't getting from the gym. And I found I started doing that class on a Sunday and then a class on a Monday, and it just became that I was doing 3-4 classes a week.
Wow.
And, it's a little bit addictive.
Yeah. Now, you do hear a lot of people saying that once you start, that's it. There's no coming back.
Do you know what? I think it's a bit Marmitey. You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And
it is. Like, I will never forget that. I genuinely mean, I did one class ever, and I would have been I would have been riding fit at the time, like 5 or 6 horses a day. And I genuinely thought I was going to die. I do not bend the way I should bend. I have discovered it just didn't. So how did it progress then from taking the classes into wanting to become a teacher?
Well, as I said, I was doing it really, really regularly, and I was holding down a couple of jobs. I was working in a bar, doing my acting. So basically I was keeping my days free for all the auditions I was getting. So I was doing a few TV commercials, working in the bar, working at a car dealership, running all these jobs to try and make sure I could do my acting career. Yeah. And my father died unexpectedly. So I just had a birthday. Yeah, it was not the best of times. What it did, it made me really reevaluate. And I thought that I just wanted to do something a little bit more. I don't want to sound too woo-woo or new agey. I wanted to do something that felt more. Oh my God, it sound spiritually fulfilling.
That was the decision that you made that was right for you at the time.
And it's interesting because I've said that, but actually there isn't any spiritual side to Pilates. You know, if you think of when you do yoga, you think that it's very much, you know, the namaste, and then there is that side to it. There isn't with Pilates, but for something it was about, I wanted to give back. I wanted to do something that was giving to people and helping people.
Oh, I love that.
I did my teacher training and discovered that actually I was quite a good teacher. And my husband said to me, he said, you've basically swapped one form of showing off, as in acting, for another, just in front of a group of people, but in a different way. But quite accurate. The thing was, when people start to do teacher training, which is one of the things that I see, is it's that thing of standing up in front of a group of people and opening your mouth, which I didn't have that problem. And I was prepared to stand up in front of the room and any kind of stream of like could come out, and I wasn't embarrassed by it. And I think that's what it did, is I had the confidence.
Yes.
To actually go, hi, right, let's all do some Pilates. I mean, I've given some incredibly stupid cues over the years. I've told people to lengthen through their hoofs. I've told people to retch towards their feet, so they're just reaching towards their feet. I mean, I have this list of things that I have said that are utterly absurd.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You can guarantee is if you come to class with me, you never quite know where it's going to end up.
I love it though. And you know, it's fascinating. I only had this conversation on a podcast last night about how much a coach can affect us, and not only within our writing, but like she was kind of talking about actually an acting coach was who she was talking about, and how much they can affect our confidence and our life skills and our outlook on things. But it comes across with you that you come in as such a bubbly, confident person. You'd feel confident going into a Pilates class. Like you'd want to be part of it and want to understand and learn more about it. But do you find when people come in first, is there a little bit of lack of confidence in it? Does it take a little while to kind of settle into it?
Yeah, it does, because especially if people are coming to Pilates from having been quite sedentary, or they're doing another discipline. Especially like you were saying, how you're really fit rider, but you went to Pilates and you were like, oh my God, this is a completely different.
Yeah.
So there's often that and there can be some hesitation for that. You know, it's like, what am I in for? And I think also in the UK, Pilates has a bit of a reputation for being a bit boring.
Oh dear. Well, we're going to banish that one now. We get rid of that.
I think it does. It had this reputation of being a bit sort of, you know, like breathy, and we're going to breathe in, and we're going to breathe out, and we're going to lift our arm, you know, and it's not. It's very gymnastic. When it's taught as it was meant to be, it's very gymnastic. But, you know, we have to get you there. You know, I'm not going to get you doing, you know, shoulder stands on you know, if you're have got a neck issue, or if you're pregnant, or you know, it's knowing where, as a teacher, where I can take you when you're a client, because it might be your first ever Pilates lesson, but you could be really, really fit. In which case, where I take you in your lesson is going to be different to somebody who comes for their first ever lesson who is unfit or injured. It's going to be a different path, a different progress.
Is that hard to navigate? Like if you're in a class and you have so many people of different kind of levels of fitness and different statures and different natures, is it hard to navigate a class when you're teaching to all those different levels?
To be honest, we try to not have a huge array of different people in the same class, because that does make it awkward. But one of the things that we do teach you is that to try and balance it so that you have your levels very, very similarly. But also, this is where modifications and variations become important, in that you can say to somebody, right, you know, we're going to do this exercise now, but you have to word it in such a way that it's not, and you're going to do this version that's really simple and really, you know, small. They're going to be doing this big fancy thing, but you're going to do this. You have to make sure you word it that they feel included.
Yes. So important.
Is that classes need to be inclusive. So whether you're coming from a different level, we try to keep you in the same class for that reason.
Yeah.
So that you'll have someone who can do, you know, like the really big extravagant moves versus somebody who's coming from a place of rehab. They're going to be different needs, different.
Well, I suppose it's the equivalent of coming in like, I don't want to jump with an Olympic show jumper. Even with my poles on the floor, and I am okay.
Yeah, it would probably be like putting me in a riding lesson with you. You'd just be like, what's she doing here? Get her out.
100% not. I can guarantee you. If you saw my acrobatics today, 100% not, Julia. I can tell you now. But it is, I think it's becoming a lot more obvious. And I think as our kind of education side of things grows, and hopefully us as riders want to improve ourselves, the importance of our fitness and our bodies and how we move on our horses is hopefully becoming more important to people. Do you have a lot of people, like, say, the horsey side of people that are coming in because they want to improve?
Yeah, it's a hugely growing demographic, hugely growing. I mean, I started really pushing down this path probably, it was about 2004, I think. Okay. And at the time, it was people wanted exercises to do after they'd ridden. They'd say, you know, after I've ridden, my back hurts or my hips hurt. What can I do? And they were looking at it from that end of the spectrum. And what I think the shift that I'm so pleased to see is that we're now recognizing that actually it's too late. For want of a better phrase, the horses are, the stable door's gone. The horses are, you know, the stable door, the horse is already gone. We need to look from the perspective of what can we do before we get on them. And I think that is the big shift that's happening, is riders are recognizing that anything that's happening in their body is going to be highlighted when they're on their horse, because they've got all the, you know, the impact of the horse. We need to be looking at it from that perspective. And it's so refreshing to see that is what is happening, whether you come to do Pilates or you do yoga or you do strength and conditioning or all three even.
Yeah.
You know, it's the attitude change is really, really happening.
It's lovely to see though, isn't it? Like, I know when I started many, many moons ago, you were fit from work and that was it. Like you rode out and that's what made you fit. And if you wanted to lose a bit of weight, you went for a run. If you want, you know, there was at the time, to me, it didn't seem that there was formal education or any kind of guidance on how we could look after ourselves to be able to mind our horses or even mind our bodies for when we got older and we were looking back at all those crippling falls and the aches and pains and the creaky knees. And I laugh every time. I know we were discussing TikTok earlier on, but there's a running video on TikTok at the minute, and it's how do you know a horsey person? And we all walk around like this because our fingers don't go in naturally anymore. But it's something, I think it's something that it's great to see people wanting to educate themselves on, and for the betterment of our horses, on ourselves. If somebody was a little bit nervous or scared, or like me, and had done the one class and hated it, what kind of advice would you give somebody looking to come into a class or wanting to come into yourself that wanted to improve for their horses?
I think the most important thing is you find a teacher that you like, that you want to be taught by. Because if you walk into a class and at the end of the hour you're just like, oh my God, I can't. Was just, you're not going to want to go back. And there's no matter how much you believe that Pilates will be great for you or whatever you're doing, whether it's yoga, you are not going to want to go back. So you have to find a teacher that really resonates with you, that makes you go, that was so much fun. And that's the thing. Or they make you understand. What I try to do is with my students or my clients is give them a little nugget each lesson. So rather than it being like bombarding, it's like, what one thing can you take away from this lesson that's going to really make a change in the next week for you, or until when I next see you? What thing can you take away? And that for me is the important thing. And you that's what you want. You want a teacher who teaches you not just, you know, lift your arm, lift your leg, breathe in, breathe out. It's like, why am I doing it?
Yeah.
Why? What? And don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you're going to a teacher, they should damn well be able to answer them. And if
I love that.
And if they can't, I mean, the thing, I'm going to just make that really clear. If somebody asks me something and I can't answer it, I will say to them, you know what? I'm going to go and find out why. And
Love.
I'll give you an example. I had somebody come to me. It was their first lesson, and I was absolutely crapping myself. There you go. I've dropped a swear word for you. We talked about that because he was a famous singer.
Oh, okay.
Really, really worried about it. It was like, oh my God, I've got the person coming to see me. And he turned up 45 minutes late. By the time he turned up, I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
Somebody would, because I teach, it's like my time it starts at here and then it ends there, and I do not run over. So he came in and we had 15 minutes, and he came in with a coffee, and it's like, so hang on a minute, you're 45 minutes late, you had time to go and get a coffee.
It's time to have a coffee. Oh,
and he didn't bring me one. If he'd brought me one, I probably wouldn't have been quite so annoyed. But he came in, and we were working on the Cadillac, which is like a big it's that thing there with all the tower.
Oh yes, yeah.
He said, why can't I sit with a straight back and straight legs? And I just went, I don't know. You've just walked in the studio. I've seen your body for 5 minutes. I can't answer that question. I can't do it. Maybe, further down the line. And he stopped and his jaw dropped. And I thought, oh, I think I've just really effed this one up. And he just looked at me and he said, you must be really confident and really good at your job if you would say that to me.
Oh, I love it.
I've known him for years now.
I love it. But imagine the amount of people that would have tried to plumb off and to tell him it was okay, and to like, he obviously loved a bit of honesty. This is it.
You know what?
I love it.
We've been friends ever since, but it was one of those things. I think if it turned up on time, and I probably would have maybe tried, but I was just like, you know what? How can I possibly gauge that? And I think that's the thing, is if you are able to answer a question, it's wonderful. But if you're not, then you need that teacher to go and go, do you know what? Let's think about this. It's like we were talking about earlier, that there are certain conversations happening in social media, and it's like, I'm really open to changing my mind about things.
Yeah.
If somebody can produce a reason or can produce research.
Yes.
One of the things that I wasn't going to say this, but let's do it. When I first started teacher training back in 2000, we taught, it was navel to spine, got to suck your belly button in, and neutral spine. Okay, neutral pelvis, neutral spine. We lived and breathed those things. In our exam, if we didn't get neutral pelvis, neutral spine, navel to spine in every single exercise, we would have failed our exam. Then research came out to say that actually that preemptively engaging your abdominals isn't necessarily a great idea. And it really was a massive head, but because there was the research backing it up, then you can go, okay, I need to change the way I teach. And it was really challenging. It's like when you've been used to saying something, it's like when you first have kids and you realize you can't swear as much as you used to. You've got to change it. It's like,
you do, and that takes a long time, I have to say.
It's relearning stuff.
Yeah. But at least you were in the correct headspace to know that because there was now scientific proof and this was a better way of doing it, that you actually evolved and you moved forward instead of staunchly saying, no, this is the way it's been done for so many years. This is what we're sticking to because this is what we know. So it goes again to show that you are such a good teacher because you were willing to change the thought process that you had been taught the whole way along.
And I am going to just put in a little thing here to say that I do sometimes use neutral, because I think if you have somebody who has very poor body awareness, or is rehabbing, it's a useful teaching tool. Okay, it's a really useful teaching tool to help them understand where their body is in space, to develop their proprioception and their understanding of, okay, here's your pelvis, here's your legs, or here's your pelvis, here's your spine. When you have somebody who is fit and healthy, the idea should be that you integrate the body as a whole and you teach them as a whole. So I am just going to put that there just as a little sort of like note in case anybody decides to go, hang on a minute, I know that you taught me.
But again, you're teaching the individual. You're not teaching the entire class. You're choosing it because it's the right option for that individual at that time.
And that's one of the things that we teach, is that you teach the body in front of you. You know, so if you came to me for a class, you would get different things to if I taught that the person who came to me went, why can't I sit with a straight back, straight legs? You're gonna get different things depending on what your needs are. And that's the thing, is that it's, as a teacher, we need to be able to go, right, what does that person need? What are they asking for? You know, let's say, I don't know, whatever you're working on with your riding, and we would apply it. And I would pick, you know, whatever piece of apparatus, you know, this is for your toes, you know. I'm hugely into the foot, which sounds really wrong.
I'm not going to lie, that looks terrifying. Can you show us that again? That looks like some kind of torture instrument, Julie. Explain this one to me now.
It's called a toe gizmo.
Okay.
And when you put it, are you ready? My children say I've got feet like a fish eagle. But what you would do, obviously not in this position, but you put it between your toes, and it helps to, it's a toe string.
Wow.
So
that's actually quite cool.
It's pretty sick.
I take it back. That is actually quite cool. It is. And yeah, I'm going to be terrified now. There's a couple of bits of equipment behind you. Will you just talk us through? Because I know sometimes, now I am a very socially awkward person anyway, but if I go into a new class, I can get really overwhelmed by things. And if I don't understand like what's going to be asked of me, or if I'm a little bit worried, it nearly puts me off going in. Can you talk us through a couple of the bits that are there?
So where I am, this will make you laugh. I'm in my basement, the basement of my house. This is my Pilates studio. And the cupboard behind me there, where above all the springs are, is where all our electric meters and gas meters are.
Yep.
So in the days pre-COVID, when they used to come and say, can I take the measurement for your electric or your gas? I have to bring them down here. And they would just, you've never seen people leave so fast. They would get those numbers and they'd be gone.
Oh, I love
it. So that's where my meters are kept, just in case. So this thing here that you can see, this is called a baby chair.
Okay.
And we can do all kinds of things on it. So you can see it's got springs attached to it. So we can do some amazing arm things, really, really good stuff for riders about shoulder stability and mobility of the spine. And you can see there's a little spine height there behind it. Here, you see that I have all these lovely colours in my studio as well. This is called a wonder chair. Okay. And this is probably one of the most advanced pieces of equipment in the Pilates studio because it has such a small surface area. Wow, so we can stand on this, we can sit on this, we can lie on it. And I actually had a lesson with my teacher is based in New York, and I had a Zoom lesson with her earlier at 2:00. And there's a very, very rude phrase that my husband has, so please forgive me, but I was shaking like a shitting dog.
It's a good description, to be fair.
And people in New York absolutely howling with laughter because I'm trying to do it looks like a really tight. If you saw what I was doing, you'd go, that doesn't look hard at all. And everything was just shaking. So everything is sprung, so we can make things. We can add resistance, and we can add assistance, or we can use the springs to make it harder. So and they've got all kinds of things in here. But it's a bit of a mess behind me, to be honest. This little bit here is nice and tidy. If I show you that in the studio, everything's shoved over there out of the way.
Why do you think I sit in this corner? Nobody can see the rest of my kitchen, and you can just see this.
If you said to me, can you show everyone your studio? I would have tidied up. I'll tell you what else I'll do.
We're just seeing this bit.
So this, you'll love this. You see this?
Oh, my word.
This is one of my favourite things for horse riders because it's called a foot corrector. And so it really helps. If I drop you down, let's look. And what you do is you put your foot and it helps. If my heel would be here and my toes would be here, and it helps to strengthen, or then you put your foot here and you push down.
Oh, wow.
So it's brilliant for helping people understand the position of the foot. If you're someone like me who's had I smashed my leg up in 2008 and then I had to learn to walk again. It's really useful having this kind of spring loading to help you rehab and just to make people realize where their weaknesses are as well. So this is one of my favorites. I do sometimes when I travel, I take it with me, but honestly, it's so heavy. You could use it as a lethal weapon. And then, this is like a little pinwheel, like you put in the garden.
Yeah.
So we would put a straw through here. It's called a breathalyzer, not breathalyzer, breathalyzer. And the idea is you would, you can see that it's moving. So what it does is I can get you doing exercises, and I can see when you stop breathing, when you start to hold your breath.
Oh, wow.
If you're doing an exercise like maybe you roll down to the mat, we can use this, or you're rolling forward, because when you stop and you start holding your breath, it's a really visual thing, and you can also hear it as well. Yeah. So it's a really good little toy to work out. That's the point at which you hold your breath. And it's amazing how many people don't realize that they are doing that.
And even within horse riding, like I had a lesson a couple of years ago, and a really lovely man, lovely. Now he was too nice for me. I needed somebody that was going to shout and roar at me at the time and tell me to get my arse into gear, basically. And he was so kind and polite and lovely. And I came in and he said, "Is there a reason that you don't breathe?" And what? And he said, "You actually didn't take a breath over your first 4 jumps." And I was riding a saucy mare at the time, and she was hardy, but she was feeling every single bit of that tension. And it took him saying it to me before I even realized it. So that's a great tool to even be able to visualize what you're doing.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm nowhere near the standard of rider as you, but I actually said to my riding instructor, "Why am I always purple when I get off? I'm quite fit, but my face, I would be like bright purple." And she went, "Well, you don't breathe." And it's like, I'm a Pilates teacher. Of course I breathe. I'm a crap rider, but I know what I'm doing with my body. And she made me, this is really funny. She said to me, "I want you to sing." Like I'm not a singer. I was an actress. I was never a singer or a dancer. And she went, "Go on, I want you to sing." And out of all the amazing bands that I've seen in my lifetime and the music that I love, the only thing that came into my head was Celine Dion. And I really don't want to offend any Celine Dion fans, but I ended up singing Celine Dion. And I swear to God, this horse just went beautifully. And I think it's just because he wanted to stop me to stop singing Celine Dion. He's like, "I'll do whatever you want, just stop singing."
If there is any consolation whatsoever, I was in a really fortunate position. The yard that I kept one of my horses in was owned by 2 friends of mine. And I was bringing her to her first competition. I was really, really nervous, like shaken, just did not want to be there. And Kieran came out and he said the same. He said, "I want you to sing." He said, "I have seen you do amazing things. I want you to sing in your head." Julie, the entire video, right? Whole video of me jumping that round, I am singing "Just Another Lemon Tree," but I know 4 lines. So it's the same 4 lines. And while I thought that was in my head, it was not. It was actually.
Oh, really?
I was mortified, absolutely mortified. But it worked. But it just goes to show when we become aware of our bodies and we know what we're doing, it makes such a huge difference to our horses. Unbelievably so.
It does. And if you think of your diaphragm separates your rib cage from your abdominal cavity. And when we breathe in, our diaphragm moves down.
Yeah.
And then our pelvic floor also moves down. So you have this, I think of it like a jellyfish, that kind of.
Yeah.
So if you're holding your breath, this is down here and it's rigid. Yeah, it's not giving way. You're just like, so your poor pelvic floor is there going, oh, it's where's it going to go? And this is the thing, is that we think about it only affecting our breathing, but it's affecting everything else down there, and we sit on them on our bums. So anything that affects that, they will feel it. They'll feel it in their backs. They'll feel it. You're going, because there'll be a rigidity. And also when you hold your breath, we get very rigid here as well.
Oh, yes. I've never even thought about this piece. Yeah.
And one of the other things, I'm fascinated by feet and I'm fascinated by the jaw. So it's amazing how many horse riders think about their horse's jaw, or it's called the TMJ, the temporomandibular joint. And they'll get people out to treat their horse's jaw, but they don't actually realize how much tension they're holding in their own jaw. And if there is a little saying that if you're clenching your jaw, you're probably clenching your bum. If you do it now, if you clench your jaw.
Oh, yeah. Well, now I have never put those two things together in my life. And of all the physios I've gone to, every one of them will give out about my jaw. Everyone.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Well, this is one of the things. So I've trained as a TMJ therapist because I wanted to see and I wanted to learn and understand the link between the jaw and the pelvis. And there are huge links. Yeah. So often what I do with riders, can you fit, here's a test, and for anybody watching, can you fit your 3 fingers like this in your jaw? Because if you can't, that tells you with your jaw.
Wow.
Yeah. And the other thing you can try is if you just relax your jaw, you should be able to push it evenly left and right. Not very exciting to watch, but you should. I'm not going to get you to do it. Don't worry. As I've said to you, it doesn't bother me.
I have no issues doing it. That's all I have to say at this stage now.
Everybody's there going, with sitting there with their fingers in their mouth going.
I'm going to use that as our snapshot for the start of this podcast.
With me, that, thanks.
Yeah. We're fine. It's good.
But it's just little things like this that if you can recognize that actually I've got an issue with my jaw, and it's amazing how many, if we start with these simple little things, that's why foot exercises are brilliant. They are a really easy way to get very quick gains in your body. And if you are somebody who, and if, for example, if you're a big gum chewer, the chances are you'll have jaw imbalance, and it affects your neck. And it's going to affect your head position, which is going to then affect your pelvis. So we can actually, with just really simple jaw releases, make quite big shifts in, it's like a domino effect.
It's funny, isn't it? Like when I think of Pilates, like the first thing that will come into my head is, strong muscle movements and huge big movements and stretching and pulling, but you forget the importance of the smaller things and to building up to things like that it can be as simple as having to or maybe fix isn't the right word, learn a different way of movement or type of movement in the smaller little things.
Yeah. It's awareness, and this is it. You don't know something if somebody hasn't ever pointed something out to you, you're not going to recognize it. And that's why for me it's just that thing of just making people be aware of their own body, because that's when change happens. If you can recognize that, actually, again, a really simple test that I do with a lot of people is, if you have your feet flat on the floor, can you only lift your big toes up and then put them down, and then can you only lift the other 4 toes up? And if you can't do that, then there's a mobility issue in your feet.
I am trying.
I'm going to say, are you doing it now, or are you? Because otherwise you're trying to fart. There's 2 things happening.
I can lift up my big toes, and I can lift. I know, I've fallen apart too. One step at a time. I can lift up my big toes, but I can't lift up my other 4 on my left foot. Now, my left foot is my weaker foot anyway. But I had never realized I couldn't do that. That's mad.
But why would you? Why, this is the way my brain works. It drives my family crazy. But this, because it's easy to think about, your hips and your back. And yet, I'm not saying don't think about them, but sometimes just by making you aware that actually you can't get that little toe off the floor, or it doesn't lift the same as the other, that there's an asymmetry there, that if we can affect change there, that's actually going to affect how your foot sits in the stirrup, so which that could affect your knee. I'm not saying it does, but it could.
Yeah, but it could, yes, yeah.
And if you're someone like me who's had, I broke my heel in 2021, on the same leg that I broke in my skiing accident. So there's compounded accidents all on the left side.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I've really struggled to get that foot position. My left foot wants to stick out like this. So to be able to make that movement is that mixture of making sure that my foot turns one way, that my ankle is mobile, and it's a constant battle.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially at my age, when you're getting that bit older, everything stiffens up a bit quicker.
Yes, this is very true. But I think you've hit the nail on the head there. We obviously speak to an awful lot of people, and sometimes speaking to riders, I really have to bite my tongue, because they'll talk about something not working instantly. Or I tried that and no, that wasn't. And sometimes, some things are not for you, and you know that in your heart, and that's fine. But it's nearly become a world of quick fixes.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't instantly do something, if we don't get an instant gratification from it, if we don't see things within the first 15 minutes of an appointment you're 3/4 of an hour late for, then we decide we don't want to do it. So it's lovely that I think you slow things, and everything just becomes that bit calmer and that bit quieter for us. And even maybe sometimes for the neurodivergent brain that is my little muggle, I need to slow down sometimes, but I forget. Because life is so busy and everything is happening so quick, I forget that it's actually okay to slow down and feel what's happening, and feel where I'm sore, or if there's tension, or if there's something I need to work on. So it's lovely to hear you talking about the kind of breaking it up, and it's okay to work on the little things. It doesn't have to be giant things all the time. Very refreshing.
Sometimes the simple things, the small, simple things are the ones that create the biggest change. It's that little tiny domino effect that can really just set you on a different path. And I think that's and you're absolutely right. We live in the day and age where, and it's not just physical exercise, we just want everything immediately. And we expect it immediately. And I think if you're somebody who has rehabbed, or had an accident, or you've had a baby, that things don't come back straight away. And you have to have the patience. I think that's a massive one, is patience, persistence, and perseverance. And without those three things, your goal is always going to be elusive. There's a really famous saying that amateurs practice till they get something right, and professionals practice until they can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is you can't stop. And I see it with people who are rehabbing, that they will get to where they think they need to be, and then they stop. And I'm going to hold my hand up and say I do it too. And I know when I haven't been doing my foot exercises, because I get up in the morning and my foot is like neat. I can, this is really horrible. If you cook a lamb stew and you leave it overnight and it gets that sort of fatty.
Yeah.
I always think of my foot like that. That if I don't do the foot exercises, it solidifies like a lamb stew.
Yes.
And exercises that warming up, and helping that lamb stew be all delicious. And so this is really quite strange.
You're giving Nigella vibes here now.
my internal thought processes needed to stay internal there, didn't they?
No, but it's a good example. At least we can all visualize it now, and we know what it means. I'm all for the visualization, I have to say, Julie. It's what works in my brain.
You're very forgiving. Thank you.
Well, I could talk to you for the whole entire night, but there is one thing I would love? Well, two things actually. So you have a million things going on. You have your family, your husband, your business, and huge things happening with that, in between that, through that. How much of this can you talk about? Is everything it?
I don't know. I don't know. I've spoken to you about my strange ideas about feet. How much do you want to know?
Everything. I want to know it all.
So one of the things that I have, I'm a teacher trainer, so I train people to be Pilates teachers. So I really want to get as many Pilates teachers who have equestrian leanings out there into the world. So if you're interested in training to be a Pilates teacher and you think that working with me would be fun.
I think we're pretty sure it would, Julie, to be honest, at this stage.
Then please get in touch with me. And even if you've got a mat training, but you want to learn the chair, or you want to learn about this thing, because this is the thing, on a lot of courses, these are the smaller pieces of equipment are often neglected. They're not always taught. Or the baby chair, anything like that. If you've got a mat training and you want to learn more, or if you have no training and you just want to learn, give me a call, because I think it's such a fantastic way of helping people improve their riding skills, because the two things go together hand in hand. They really do. And then the other news is that I've written a book, which is just it's that thing of, it's like, yeah, I wrote a book, but at the same time it's like, wow, yeah, I've written a book. I've put all my crazy ideas about feet and jaws and everything into a book, and it's coming out in April. So, but it is available to pre-order on Amazon.
And what is there a link? Is there, I can put the link in with this anyway.
There is a link.
Yeah. Oh no, I have the link. I do have the link. I can put it in with this, and I can pop it on the socials and the bits anyway. It has been an absolute pleasure, Julie. Like, I actually genuinely feel like this is the start of some kind of series. I want to know so much very more about, like, there's a million questions I have in my head. I'm not going to lie. Like, I want to know more about the equipment. I want to know more about you. I want to know more about your rehab after the accident. There is a million other things that I would love to chat to you about. If and when people want to get in contact with you, and apart from pre-ordering the book, which is on Amazon, and then buying it when it comes out, how do people get in contact with you now? What's the easiest way?
So the easiest way is you can contact me through my website, which is www.juliedriverpilates.com. You can see I thought long and hard about the title of that website. I am on Instagram, of the gram, so you can contact me through there, direct messages, or via Facebook. Again, Julie Driver, because that's my name.
That's who you are. I love it. Julie, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. You've actually made me go back to Pilates now. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to learn how to wiggle my toes. I've decided to
don't you?
Yeah. I will. I actually would like to go back now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thanks a million again, Julie.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.